You cannot afford to miss a single moment of the next hour. Get ready to have your ideas about sexuality, love, and relationships blown wide open. It's time to get educated, entertained, and enlightened, as well as sexually empowered. You have now tuned into the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show. Now, here's your host, Tanya Diamond.
I always love the way Gary does that. You know, he winds it up, woo, with the finger and go. Woo, you're looking kind of rock star tonight.
Well,
there.
you know, it helps when I put something together. I know exactly when I need you to.
That's right, yeah, because you produced all that.
Hit it, baby.
Hit
just
it
hit
now.
it.
Just do it.
Do it right now.
That's the one I have to say. Yeah, do it right now. We're going to talk about that. I'm doing it right now. You know, because we do talk about those kind of things. First of all, hey, everybody. Hello out there, world, because we're worldwide.
We are.
We are worldwide.
I love that.
How cool is that?
I love that.
I love that. You're not getting phone calls yet. I get the phone calls.
I'm not getting phone calls
because you're just
yet.
the co-host.
I've had a couple of people friend me on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, wow.
Because of that?
Because they know you, because I know you.
Oh, see? Yeah, that's what
me.
it is. And, everybody's really trying to get to Gary.
Right,
and they're just
because
trying
he
to
really is the rock star.
That's right, but it's always through me.
I always get the videos.
Oh, that's so sad. I get the phone calls, you get the friends on Facebook, and he gets the videos.
I'd love to get any questions directed towards me, either on your Facebook or phone calls.
You don't want the videos? He's getting videos. Did you hear that?
Scary.
Okay, he's a little scared.
I don't know them well enough yet. We could talk about videos later.
He's not that kind of guy.
I would. Well, I didn't say that. I'd like to get to know people a little bit first. I'd love to hear who across the world wants to know me.
Yeah.
And you're just okay with the videos, Gary?
Well, I open them up and I'm going, oh, hello.
Hi there then. Okay. Wow. Maybe they think that if they give you the video, you're going to make them a star. Maybe they don't understand that.
I have no idea.
You are the producer, and you know what people think about
the producer.
I have never even put the word out there that I was starting Peephole Productions or anything like that.
Right. He didn't put that word out there at all. Peephole Productions.
Put that word out
right,
there at all.
Exactly. Right. So every video that you send in to Gary, it's going to make him money. He's really happy about that. Send him more. You know, actually, at one point, because I'm tantric, all these people send me their naked pictures. It's true. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hi, we're tantric, and here we are naked. And I'm thinking, first of all, tantra and naked, they don't have to go together. It's not synonymous. And secondly, what do you think I might be doing with your pictures? I mean, is it just people are okay with just sending pictures?
And why do you think I wanted to? I mean, personally,
I don't know.
you can forward them to me, but
Joshua wants to see them. Show
I always
Joshua.
love seeing,
Send them to Joshua. If you need to send me naked pictures, send them to Joshua. Okay. All right.
There we go.
Yeah, but if you send them to me, then I might make money with them. I mean, that's all. If you don't care that you're just sending them around, okay. So no more naked pictures to me.
Well, I'm going to make money with them too. I want to have I want to have an exhibit in one of the local museums. Like
people that would send anonymous people their naked pictures,
something like that, or plaster of Paris forms of the human body, and where people actually get to walk through the museum, touching and experiencing.
Oh, okay. So your body, if you send us naked pictures, may end up being plaster form Paris and touched
I may end up calling you to see if you would come and sit for a mold.
There's an idea there. I think
there is. And watch out your mailbox. And what was your email? You find him on Friends.
Well, you can find me through
Facebook.
Tanya's
Facebook. Yeah, exactly. Great.
My friend list is about to grow.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no. So anyway, I'm grateful for all of you out there listening all over the world, and for your phone calls and emails that I get. And it's so much fun when you contact us and let us know what you think. And unless it's like, Tanya just spelled that wrong. I know that. I can see that I just spelled that wrong on Facebook. I'm in a very funny space today.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Okay. We're in a funky, funny space, and that's good.
And Mercury is in retrograde.
Is that what's going on? Wait, this is not the psychic astrology show.
We're in the shadow of Mercury in retrograde, and just be aware.
All right. And we're not in the shadow of my breast today, so we're doing well.
You had to say that.
So, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? All right, you're wondering, what the heck are these people going to talk about today? You just don't know.
We're just getting you warmed up.
Yeah, all right. So Max and I today got in a very interesting conversation about quality or quantity. Now, a lot of the work I do, it seems pretty simple to me. When couples call me up, and I work with a lot of couples, and I work with a lot of couples that are just not connecting very well sexually. And I'm always flabbergasted. How's that for a
That's
word?
pretty
flabbergasted.
But for
That's
you
it.
to be flabbergasted,
I know.
I've tried to flabbergast you.
I know. Yeah.
And that is
Right.
no easy task.
No, it's not. But I am always flabbergasted at some of the incredibly simple and basic things that people don't talk about. I mean, like, very few couples really ever ask each other, how often do you want to have sex?
Right.
Right? I mean, that's a pretty simple, easy question.
Very simple, and I think for most couples, very frightening to even go there.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I think women just assume men want it all the time.
Right.
And women want it, what?
I think most men think that women just don't. If the relationship is going in a challenging direction and stress or whatever, judgment, self-judgment, and it starts to slim down in the frequency, it's like, oh, it's a burden.
Even before relationship, though, I mean, the basic thought is men want sex all the time, and women are like,
Well, but then, the thought in some of the men's arenas are that before marriage, women are interested in sex, and they do a lot of things in
it's the famous
intimate
oral sex thing.
Oral sex before
marriage.
and not after, and
yeah.
write that in the contract.
Right. Well, I hear that it's actually true that happens a lot of the time. And is it just because men are actually dating and really romancing women beforehand, and then after they just let that all
arousal,
go?
That is a big piece of it. That men are really doing something to bring up the arousal of their partners.
Right. And we're not talking foreplay. We're talking about
we're
intimacy.
talking the intimacy, the
dating,
dates, the excitement, the exotic experiences, paying attention, adoring.
Adoring. There's that word.
There's that word again. And appreciating such that her arousal is in a place where perhaps she is
motivated.
Aroused enough and motivated to love his body.
It takes all that love and arousal to love his body.
Well, but the difference between being in love and wanting to taste and touch and embrace the body versus, okay, he's sitting on the sofa, drinking a beer, maybe smoking a cigar, saying, honey, can you get me that? Not like snap your finger, hurry up, like, just trying to get her attention while the game is going. And then that night, hoping that maybe she'll want to give some oral.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a shower and a couple of days to let that cigar wear off.
Get over that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some women like cigar and beer and non-showered bodies.
Where do I find them?
Yeah, well, they're around. They're
okay.
around.
I mean, I don't smoke cigars, but I could start.
You could. That would be good if you could start. Oh, we have a caller. We have a caller already. Oh, it's Max. Max wants to jump right in on this. Max, okay. Let's hear you.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Max.
All right, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Is Max like our anonymous caller in her all the time?
He's not really anonymous. I mean,
I'm using his name, but maybe that's not his real name.
It's a different Max altogether.
This isn't his real name.
And it's completely coincidental that he's going to talk about the conversation that you and the other Max talked about.
Oh, I already said that, didn't I?
You already kind of let that out. Sorry.
Okay. So, hello, Max.
Hello.
What do you want to jump in and say today?
Well, I thought I had something to jump in, and then I realized the conversation has progressed behind because of the lag, the delay.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to jump in about something that had already passed. Why don't you bring me up to speed? I'll just listen.
Well, no,
there really is no speed. I think you're going to bring us into the actual topic.
Yeah, we just
really?
kind of went off into, I don't know, beer drinking and whatever. So what did you want to say?
Well, I don't know. I thought the quality and quantity of beer drinking in their economy, we could talk about that.
Yeah, the quality and quantity of watching ball games and beer drinking and your sex life and what
Cigars.
it does to it.
Cigars.
Oh.
Yeah, not so good.
Sex life, beer drinking.
Is a woman who smokes cigars sexy?
She can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she can be. Okay, so we do want to talk about quality versus quantity, and what we had said was, bring everybody back around because they're all lost now. I'm sure because I am. Is the questions that people don't ask each other in relationship? How often do you want to have sex? In an ideal, perfect world, what would your quantity be? What would your quantity be, Josh?
That's actually difficult to answer.
Really?
Because I've experienced more than once daily. If I'm practicing ejaculation mastery, I could go for, a few minutes or longer, several times a day, or go a day or two without. And whereas if I'm not practicing or I'm failing at my practice of ejaculation mastery,
or you're ejaculating masterfully,
I'm ejaculating masterfully each and every time,
right?
Then it actually becomes more exhausting,
right? Yeah,
each time,
right?
And so I actually sometimes that means each time I can't help myself and I need to ejaculate masterfully, or I actually want to have a day or two to recoup, not my energy, but my resolve.
Resolve, okay.
Resolve. Huh.
His resolve.
My ability to get back into my intent of ejaculation mastery.
Intent. Awesome.
Yeah, what about you, Max? Quantity.
Well, here's what I'm going to do to deflect that question. Seriously, Joshua, what I heard you say, also fit into, remember, maybe it was last week or a couple weeks ago, the caller called in and she was talking a little bit about the crankiness that her man was experiencing after, so he was holding out, and then finally, it's like, whoa, big opera, and, this whole thing's going on, and then he turned cranky.
Right.
And so I figured there might be some interesting kind of relationship between, the experience of ejaculation mastery and how that, and bringing that back to the conversation, how that fits into the quantity. I don't know if any women out there have experienced their man actually rejecting a time to initiate. In other words, she's the one saying, "Hey,
hello."
Yeah.
Hello. Well, look, Sam, that's why I'm trying to get this conversation back on topic. So quantity. I asked you a quantity question,
right,
Max?
Yes.
And quantity would be. Let me lead the conversation.
Okay.
3 times a week, 3 times a day.
Well, for me, at least once a day, preferably twice, like morning and night.
All right. My perfect quantity definitely is once or twice a day. See, now there's a woman saying that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, here's where the conversation gets interesting, though, because so if you're doing it twice a day or even once a day, what does the quality look like?
Right. Got to be darn good quality, in my opinion.
Really? See, because maybe
I didn't say how long, and I didn't say how much.
Well, see, that's what I mean. So, and then what does quality mean? See, I mean, these are the things that we actually are going to talk about. There's quantity. Yeah, people say, I want to have sex every day. I've talked about this. I've had, I hired I supported a man for a year. Oh. That's kind of like hiring him to just be my boy toy.
Okay.
We just had sex all, whenever I was available. He was available at my beck and call, like 2, 3, 4 times a day sometimes. That, men think that's a fantasy of theirs, but if they really have that going on, it might not be.
Well, if they're not successly practicing ejaculation,
no, he had to do that. Yeah.
He had to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Max, are you playing with your papers?
Yes. I've got my graph paper in full ruffle over here.
He's ruffling.
Remember, no table pounding there, Max.
Oh, right.
So quality, so quantity. Everybody can say they have their quantity, but then we got to talk about the quality, because if we're talking about a 2 or 3 minute bang, that's not what I'm talking about. So I don't want just that. I want that twice a day.
Well, how about this? I mean, 2 or 3 minute bang. Who decides that it's over, and when is it over? If there's no ejaculation,
excellent.
If there's no orgasm, then what is that all about?
When is it really over?
What does quality in that case look like, and what's going on?
That's what happens in my men's classes when I teach, and I teach about ejaculation mastery. Inevitably, some man will say, "Well, how do you know when sex is over if I didn't come?"
Exactly.
He's got to, he wants to know the answer to that. It's like, so how do we know that?
And to me, that's a really exciting thing, because if it's never really over, then even when you're not actually physically connected, engaged in sex, the caressing, the touching, the talking, it's still arousing throughout every day.
So you're just keeping, so it's not really sex, because I think most people think about sex with it's got the foreplay, the middle, and the ejaculation is the end. Maybe what we're talking about is just intimate foreplay. So there's foreplay, intimate foreplay, which doesn't have an end, but it has more juice to it.
Yeah.
And then,
a look from across the room can be foreplay.
Right, but what I'm saying is a physical foreplay where you're actually in each other's bodies and then moving out of that into something else.
When you say
in
specifically
each other's bodies, right.
Okay, that's not foreplay.
That's intimate foreplay. See, I'm coining a new
No.
phrase.
Foreplay in terms of touching each other's bodies without being in each other's bodies.
Right.
I mean, if you're using hands and stuff, let's get technical here, versus intercourse.
All right. What I'm trying to do is create a new paradigm here.
Okay.
Instead of using the word sex, which has a foreplay, middle, and end,
Sure.
how about intimate foreplay, which is actually intercourse that doesn't end, but just transforms into something else?
I got to sit with that.
He's got it. What about you, Max? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's interesting. I mean, in a way, it's almost like, well, okay, if it can be conceived that life itself is foreplay before intercourse or lovemaking. In other words, when you have that eye contact with your partner throughout the day, you come home from work and instead of pouncing on the office stuff and homework that you forgot to do, actually connect with your partner. Take a few moments, breathe, do some eye gazing. Then you're present and you're there, and then you're sharing intimately. And then all of a sudden, when it is, maybe time to shift that space, and one person's feeling aroused, or it gets to be towards bedtime, then all of a sudden you already have an intimate contact established. And there's really been no breach of intimacy. Then you're moving into the space in a completely different way. So on the outside of that, if you go out of the lovemaking experience, and if we're calling this intimate foreplay, it really says we're leading into the intimacy of the day through our sexuality.
Right.
Is that what we're saying?
Well, I'm trying to shift a paradigm because people think about sex having a beginning, a middle, and an end.
I see.
And so when is sex over?
Mm-hmm.
Well, sex is over when somebody ejaculates, but maybe intimate foreplay is something that continues all the time. And it doesn't matter if you've been inside each other's bodies or not or whatever. It's all the same thing. It's an extension of the dance instead of an ending of the dance. Because so in tantric lovemaking, so let's say you come home, you do the eye gaze, you've hooked up a little bit there, intimately with your clothes on. Maybe you've done a little touching. You're in the kitchen, you're cooking. There's a little fondling happening. Fondling, yeah. Fondling vegetables and different things. And so then there's some fondling, and then, there's something else going on here. There's maybe a grab and a kiss up against the refrigerator, so it's a little heavier, and then it's back to, eating food. Maybe you're feeding each other. So this is like a long dance. Let's say you get to the actual, we're taking each other's clothes off, doing that whole thing, having union, penetration. But it doesn't end because you decide, we're just going to do this for 20 minutes, and then we're pulling apart from that and going and doing different things and then coming back, then it's always a dance. Then it's not really sex.
Yes. It's
Yes?
always a dance.
So everybody's mesmerized here.
It's always a dance. I mean, and that brings a whole different aspect to it, because whether you're physically touching, it's play. If you're orally exchanging for a few moments, it's play. Then you have some intercourse, it's play. Then you go back to something else. It's not like you're leading up to a beginning, middle, and end. You touch each other, you fondle each other, oral, intercourse, ejaculation, you're done.
That's
you're
boring.
Saying everything is part of the play. There's no end. It's a constant.
Right.
It's a constant
It's
buffet.
staying in a state of arousal. So now, but back to the quality versus quantity. So quality. What is quality? I mean, maybe some people would rather have sex, let's say even regular sex, 4 days a week if they had an hour to do it, or 1 day a week if they had 2 hours to do it, but they don't want the 15, 20-minute interchanges. That's what I'm talking about here. This is something that people just don't talk about. So what are your thoughts? I mean, if you could only have
when I'm aroused, it's sort of like there could be any minute. To be with someone who, getting ready to leave the house and all excited to go, and all of a sudden I'm stricken with an, oh my God, I want you. And that look
He's
back
looking
that
at me
says, not in that way, I swear. And then that look comes back of, oh really? But we have to go, and we really don't have that much time. And I say, I don't need much time. And I'm not saying because I can ejaculate that quick. It's that I just need a few strokes.
Right, there we go.
And as someone's willing and aroused with me, next thing you know, you have those lift up the dress and
those moments.
Enjoy a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Ejaculation mastery and use.
Is that quality?
If she's enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying it? I think so. And
so you can have quality in a minute or two.
Absolutely, because it's
Okay.
never over. It's only part of the dance.
Right.
And then a few strokes, and then I've got to stop this right now because I
Right.
feel that great. And
You're turning on people all over the world right now. I just want you to know.
well, I want them to send me an email to tell me so, and then to stop and go about the day,
Right.
or go out to dinner
Yep.
with the thinking about that at the dinner table.
I know. There we are. We're thinking about that at the radio station right now.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that, Max?
Well, I think that's great, and I think there's a few assumptions being made about the listeners. I mean, one, is there a person who's a significant other or some kind of situation which supports this conversation? What about, for example, the quantity quality when we're talking about a lot of people? Maybe there's a lot of people out there who they're so busy talking and wanting and desiring sex. It's so far distant for them to even just have an experience that this is pretty well advanced conversation. So other than that element or being in that situation where it's like being in a desert where you are literally starved for a drop of some hint of sexuality at all.
Right.
So other than that, I would say for me personally, quality looks like literally being present in the moment and simply being able to feel the embrace of the loved one and actually feel that heart connection and feel the touch of the skin and fully present and with all the arousal which is happening, and that's a pretty exciting kind of energy. It really, it's hot, it's electrifying, it's all that. And then there's these really subtle feelings which to me occur when one is really present and open and receiving.
So it's not a time thing. Quantity or quality that we're talking about here is not necessarily a time.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so you can have quality in a short period of time.
Yes.
All right. And I think that's maybe important for people to understand because, a lot of the couples that I talk with will say to me, I don't want to do these quickie things or whatever. I want time to spend. And maybe because they're busy, they're putting sex off for Saturday afternoon or Saturday night, whatever,
Right.
date night, when they don't realize maybe they can have quality if they really, truly show up for each other in major presence. Maybe even then, sitting eye-gazing, touching hearts, just holding each other, if they're really present, could be that quality.
Another aspect in the quality discussion, going back to ejaculation mastery, is that I could understand why some women wouldn't be interested in the quickies because it's servicing him. It's getting him off.
It does have that feel.
That usury to it. And
there's a man saying that, not me.
Yeah, and there, she's got to clean up more than he's got to clean up, and she's got to wear that. She's got to have that in her body, and unless that's something that's really exciting for her, it's like, okay, that didn't do much for me, and now he's sleepy and unattentive, so it doesn't earn me much.
That's right. If you have a quickie right before dinner and he's snoozing through dinner, that wasn't very fun. Yeah.
Right. Whereas for a responsibility for a man to do ejaculation mastery, she may actually want that even more.
Oh, well, yeah, because then he's still there, and then he's super aroused and very attentive the whole evening.
Right. And if we're for couples that are in this place of they've not connected with each other for a long time. So Max, your reference to the people who are just struggling to have experiences together, it's a great reference to, okay, so what about the people that aren't reaching out to each other, that even don't know how to start the conversation of how often or how is it? That's, again, quality comes in. I think all of it, quality is an important piece.
Well, and then I think the conversation can also be, so, maybe you're a quantity junkie, because that's me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this on, international radio, quality junkie here, and maybe I'm a quantity junkie, right, because I haven't had the best quality. And so I'm trying to fill up on quantity, looking for that quality.
Okay.
And maybe there are people that feel that way.
Right.
If my soul is looking for something, or I'm looking for that ultimate connection, and I'm not getting it, but I'm attempting to get it through the, the sexuality is important to me. And if I'm looking for that connection, but I'm not receiving it how I really need, maybe I'm just after all that quantity, looking for that, trying to fill up on that.
And another piece to quantity is how long, how often, and how long. So someone that I know, she and her husband have a great sex life, and it's too long for her. He's got a longevity thing going on. Either it's stress or something's going on that this man can just go.
Yeah.
So tension. And it's great, but she doesn't always have the energy for the marathon.
Right.
Sometimes she would just like it to be shorter.
Well, then he needs to stop.
And they need to communicate. And they need to communicate better.
Right. She needs to say, honey, tonight 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes is really good.
You're either cut off or I want you done in 15 minutes.
Right, exactly.
However you want to look at it.
Right.
But in that perspective, quality is the key. And I hear what you're saying. You want quality and quantity.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that there might be a lot of people out there, and so everybody take a moment and think about this. If you're a sex maniac, we can use that word, whatever, right? Somebody that's just like, oh my God, I've got to have sex all the time. And there are a lot of men like this, right? Men that are feeling hounding their women a lot. Right? Maybe it's not because you want sex so much, it's that you want that connection and that quality that you're not getting. And so you're hungry for it, so you're constantly grabbing for the sex, hoping that's going to do it. What do you think about that, Max?
Well, yeah, I was about to bust in there because, what have I been searching for all my life, which is someone to understand me, and I'm speaking as a man here, understand me, maybe a little bit of the respect, somebody to kind of be like a companion, somebody that can keep up the pace with me, in some ways that I can do that. In other words, somebody to follow my lead where I'm able to lead,
Are you talking sexually or are you talking in general?
I'm talking actually in life. I think, I think that, I've felt very connected with, some people call it a feminine side, and I really feel that it's more of a connection with my, my feelings, okay, and also my intimate nature. In other words, my body, but also the way I relate with others. I've pursued that, and I've understood that, spent some time really exploring that. So I don't really call that a feminine side. I call it, wait a minute, I have needs of intimacy. And I hear a lot of men talking about this.
Well, that's what I'm saying here, too. So there's men that have that desperate need for sex, the quantity of sex. The same thing I'm doing, and maybe it's not really that so much as what you're saying. What they're looking for is what you started with. All your life you've been looking for that connection.
Right, a connection, whether it's when whatever that quality looks like, whether I'm asking for, I wish somebody understood me, or, whether it's looking for respect that maybe you didn't get in your family, or, self-love or love itself, or whatever it is. That connection, I think, could look like many things, but to me, that what you're saying right there is, for me, the common root looks like the connection that we're all inspired by, driving for, and looking for connection.
So other than just getting off, which a lot of men use sex as a medication tool, so just, to go to sleep.
Right.
I'm stressed, I'll ejaculate, go to sleep. But if they're not looking for that and they're actually really, really just, craving, what are they craving? What are we craving when we're joining our bodies? This is the thought that I'm going to leave you guys with as we get ready to head out for a break. Think about that a little bit. What are we really craving for when we're creating union in our bodies, when we're wanting sex? Is it just the physical act, or is it something more? And we'll be back in just a moment.
Is your sex life non-existent? Do sexual dysfunctions leave you soft? Is internet porn getting more than you are? Or are you paying more attention to porn than your partner? Have you tried talk therapy and it got you nowhere? You are not alone. You can be freed from sexual shame, guilt, and dissatisfaction. A visit to the Tantra teacher is in order. Call now and mention you heard the Tantra teacher on the radio and get a very special offer. Stop waiting for a miracle and call right now. 206-276-2735. Phone consultations or in person will get you the information you need to be successful in your love life. But you have to call now. 206-276-2735. Stop making excuses. Call the Tantra teacher. 206-276-2735.
Did you know that you can rate this show on iTunes? The show you're listening to right now. It's true. You can leave your thoughts about the show, the topic, the guest. You can even leave a suggestion. Then, before you leave, rate the show. The hosts love hearing from you, so next time you download this show from iTunes, leave your thoughts and rate the show for the host and for others.
Are you one of the 40 million sexless couples in the U.S.? Are you wondering why having sex leaves you feeling lonely? Are you suffering from the myths of sexual dysfunction? Do you know in your heart that there has to be more than what you're currently getting out of making love? To rid yourself of sexual ignorance, get more out of your lovemaking, and find out more about spiritual sexual connection, then you need to check out www.thetantrateacher.com to receive your free copy of the ebook called Secrets of the Tantra Teacher. Don't suffer another minute without the sexual loving and ecstatic bliss you were born to receive. Get to www.thetantrateacher.com right now. That's www.thetantrateacher.com.
Hello, this is James Arthur Ray, and you are listening to the best network online, Contact Talk Radio.
Now is your chance to be part of the show. Call 877-230-3062. Call in with your questions or thoughts and talk with the host and their guest. Again, that number is 877-230-3062.
We are back, and gosh, Gary, I always love that the music you have for the call in. It's just so exciting, you know. The call in now.
The call in now.
Yeah,
it's urgent. It's urgent. Call in now. 877-230-3062.
Kind of like a newscast type of feeling or something too.
Wow.
It's got that kind of news.
Yeah, it does,
room.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. But you're right.
Yep. So we are back. I think we're back. Are you back, Joshua?
I think I'm back.
Okay, and Max is still on the line.
Yes,
yeah, Max is still. So it's Joshua, Tanya, Max talking about quality versus quantity in sexual relationship.
Hey, what about quality with quantity? Where do we have to have the verses?
Wow,
we have them both.
Can we have quality and quantity at the same time? Wow, what would that look like?
Donuts.
Wow.
Sorry, segue.
And yeah, of course. I guess that's very true. We could have quality and quantity.
Quality and quantity are key.
Isn't that Tantra? Wait.
Stop it.
Wait.
Wow. I think that's...
Hold on, are we ready to make that connection yet?
Are we ready to make that jump? Have we evolved the men that far? Have we evolved the women that far?
You know what? I'm stunned. I mean, I do this show and I teach this stuff.
Are our listeners ready to commit to Tantra?
I don't know. Are they?
The air is silent and I'm waiting.
I know.
To hear.
We hear people cheering all over the world. Woo! So if we had an iPhone app, right, then everybody could be pushing their button on the globe, lighting it up everywhere, saying, yes, we are committed to doing Tantra. Tantra, yeah, there we go. Quantity and quality.
Quantity and
at
quality.
At the same time.
Again, ejaculation mastery and communicating. When is it over if you're not having to always go off?
Well, I mean, it has a natural evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have found, I can answer this question because I've been in this experience for a while. And there's a natural evolution if you are making love, having sex, doing your thing, and it's like somebody falls asleep. There's a natural evolution of that. I have that experience once with somebody falling asleep. Yeah, I've had people, and I've done that. And if you're connected and stuff, it's not as horrible as it sounds. It's not. It's not as horrible as it sounds. If you're connected with somebody, you realize that you've just been you're languishing together. You've had this great experience, and somebody's tired. And you take a breath, and you're warm, and just there it is, and they're asleep.
Right.
So that's one way it can end, and it can also end because your child walks in.
Yeah.
And I guess we're ending for a while now. It can also be because you have to get up and go do something. Somebody's hungry. Somebody has to pee.
Somebody knocks at the door.
Somebody knocks at the door. The dog licks your butt. I don't know. There's a million ways.
You just stop, put the dog back outside,
and continue.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just the beautiful fact is it feels like it isn't ending when there is ejaculation mastery in play.
Right.
It just feels like you're pausing to do it some more later. At a different time. Max?
Yeah, I keep coming around to this feeling of, the quality of intimacy and arousal, which lasts throughout the day, which is a personal experience, so it's carried within and emanates from within. So we carry that with us, and then it seems to me that everything keeps coming back to quality. In other words, if I look at that as, quantity, in other words, 100% of the day, I'm just in, massive gratitude and appreciation, arousal, maybe not with, 100% stimulation all the time, but just feeling in that space, that sounds like quantity, but really, I think that's about quality. It seems like everything points to going through quality to get at any kind of a quantity at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
It's something that what you've been sharing and sort of the avenue or the aspects that you're sharing, Max, bring me to the place of realizing if more men could see their arousal as their fuel, as their mana, as their sustenance, rather than something they've got to extinguish.
Something that's inconvenient and frustrating.
Something they've got to go put it in.
Or shove it out, in other words, push it off. I think
push it off.
Yeah.
I call it painting the walls of the bathroom, whatever you want to call it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that has a visual to it.
But for most men, they need to extinguish their fire because it drives them crazy. It makes wars, it makes rape, it makes all kinds of destructive, or it can be fun. But for men to be so in dire need,
but I've been in that space too. I have to say that. I'm that's just not just a man thing.
How broad is that as an issue in women today, though? I mean, yes, women want quality.
Because most women are never aroused enough to get to that point where they're like going to kill somebody to get at somebody.
Okay.
I mean,
so
the
men,
reality is most women are idling, at a minus 20 out of 100 being pure arousal.
Okay, so the place where that takes my mind is that if more men were interested in having their arousal be their fuel, be their mana, more of the women in their life, or the woman in their life, would be more aroused, and then she would be in more demanding his sexual energy more.
Of course.
And then he would get the quantity and the quality that he wants, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
maybe so. Maybe so. But I think that there are plenty of women out there that are just as frustrated. When I talk to younger women and I say, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if, you had this experience of being able to connect and be in your arousal without really having to just, get off all the time, just make it about getting." And they're like, "Are you kidding me?" And so there's not just the men, but
in what sense? What are they saying?
They don't want to be frustrated. It's like that's too frustrating. See, people are frustrated by their sexual energy.
Too frustrating that he would wind them up and caress them, and they just want to get off also?
Yeah, that is, but we're trained for that.
Do you have any phone numbers?
Yeah.
Sorry. I got distracted.
We're like, it's some of that is that role modeling too, and that whole thing that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
And I think that people are frustrated by sexual energy. They don't know what to do with that energy. Mm-hmm. You know, and like I said, I've been in that space as well. I mean, it's like, okay, I can handle a lot of arousal. I can be pretty darn aroused running around in my life and
That's
be good with it.
sometimes dangerous, though.
Well, me being aroused.
To be around you when you're not around.
Well, there is that. There's that for sure.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, just dangerous. And then there's there's times when it's, especially when I was younger, it's like, oh, I don't know what to do with all this. It's kind of maddening.
Mm.
And what is that? I think maybe other than just, having that high energy, it's that possibly for women, it's that evolutionary biological procreational thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it might even tie into, we're being driven by that biology.
Biologically driven
right,
to be aroused.
Right. Well, no, driven to do something about the arousal.
Right.
I mean, really, basically, arousal is a biological drive to have babies, to have sex. Because if you weren't aroused, why would you have sex?
Yeah, and
Okay.
for men and women, it's
right. So what we're asking people to do is to consciously step above that, to take that base drive, that raw biological drive to procreate and have sex for the purpose of having children, and actually elevate that, step up from that, become conscious of the biological drive, and then supersede that with awareness, which is kind of what Tantra helps teach you to do. That's
Right.
what Tantra is about in the sex realm. I mean, Tantra is way more than sex.
yeah.
But in the realm of sexuality, Tantra is helping you take your base biological drive of procreating and walking it up a step to consciously using your sexual energy instead of being frustrated as through your body to create and for fuel and to live in that arousal. Living in arousal is awesome.
And to feel fulfilled.
Right.
I mean, I guess ultimately to feel fulfilled, not just complete and exhausted.
Right. Well, there is that. And you still there, Max?
I am here.
Go.
I'm
What do you
taking
have?
all this wisdom in. This is great.
Taking the wisdom. I love that. Taking all the wisdom in. Do you have anything to say about that?
Wow. There's a wow. I keep going back to the living in arousal. How about that?
I know.
Yeah, I like that.
How sweet is that? Other than being in danger if I'm on the street and you're there at the same time, anybody out there, worrying about it. Where does Tanya hang out, by the way, when she's in arousal?
Right, nice.
That's the email I'm getting next.
Right.
Do you frequent Starbucks anywhere when you're in arousal? What kind of danger am I in?
You're going to get me the number of some of those people that are having those needs, and
Right.
people can make offers. Highest offer I might consider.
Are you pimping yourself out on the radio show here, Joshua?
No.
No, he's not. Because he's
I
really
never do.
tantric, right?
Yeah.
I'm really tantric.
He's just having fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having fun.
Well, that is part of living in arousal, is really embracing the fun.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people don't do a lot of that either in their sex life these days.
Yeah,
People
tell you
are
what.
pretty darn serious. Women are serious about whether or not things are going to happen for them and they're going to need to fake it or not. There are a lot of women faking orgasm out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few that are pretty good at it, too.
I'm really awesome at it.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. I've never had anybody be able to tell.
I'd love
Should
to
I be
read.
proud of that? Woo!
Put it on your resume.
that's it.
That one's good as gold.
Brilliant at faking orgasms.
It's that moment when I stop moving and she's still faking it. I'm like, honey, you can stop now. I'm not moving.
Well, she could still be having an orgasm just because you're not moving.
That
could happen.
when the only thing quivering is the vocal cords.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. And it, so what do you guys think about women that fake orgasm?
I'd rather she just tell me
That she's faking it?
that she's faking it and she's not enjoying it, or why she's faking it.
Right.
So that I can make a decision in my relationship.
Could you take that?
I could take that. I'd rather hear her say, I'm faking it, and I could say, are you wanting to have an orgasm or not? Are you wanting to just please me and you think I need to hear it and know I've given you one? Or you just like hearing the sounds?
Yeah, do you like faking it?
I'll get
Do
you
you get
recorded.
off
You
on
can listen
faking
to it all you want, whether I'm here or not. There was a time where getting my partner off was paramount for me. And that made her even less interested in having sex.
The goal.
Right. And I realized after that, and I had, a couple weeks later, I had to think about it. I'd talked with a few people and realized women sometimes enjoy the intimate connection and don't want to climax, but they enjoy the intimate connection. And so to realize that was freeing for me, that I didn't have to get her off. The sex act didn't require that I do my job in that way. And that we could actually communicate, so she could let me know either before we started or while we're there.
She could tap you out. We don't need to go there.
and for me, it's actually helpful to know, hey, on this dance, I don't want to climax.
Right.
If I'm making love, it's important for me to tell my partner. And sometimes she'll ask me, hey, are you practicing ejaculation mastery, or can I pull you through the door?
Right.
And
what? We're talking communication here?
Oh, my God.
Communication and education. Why does it always come down to communication and education?
I used the C word again.
I don't know. Why he keeps using the C word. So Max, what about women that fake?
Well, I'm not sure. How would you know unless they say? I mean, in one regard, unless you have some special, like, oh, I caught you, or something like that. There's one woman I thought may well have been faking, but honestly, I don't know. And then I do know that there was one woman from my past who we actually had the conversation about she didn't need to have an orgasm to be satisfied. And I have had to have the conversation of, look, I am not ejaculating here, but that doesn't mean it's over. I'm not satisfied. In other words, we've just made love. We've gone, here's an hour, a couple hours, ecstatic, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, it's like she's freaking out because I didn't have an orgasm after all was said and done. The question was up, did you? And I'm like, well, no. And
so that's like a reverse twist. The woman saying, did you come?
Well, what are you going to do with I mean, if you are in ejaculation mastery, I mean, if you are this person and you are with someone who hasn't really experienced that before, you have to also lead that situation kindly and let them know, look, this isn't a problem. I'm okay. And then a couple nights later, it's like, are you sure you don't need to orgasm? Yeah. Stuff like this.
It's pretty intense for women. I remember my first man who was that, because a lot of women believe that, part of their sex appeal is a man getting off really fast. I mean, it's written about that. Oh, and she was so hot, I came right away, whatever, that kind of a thing. So women have that feeling that, the more temptress or irresistible they are, the
and
the
then
less a
don't
man
they
can
complain about the fact that we're popping off in 30 seconds?
Well,
a
it
different
depends.
discussion.
It depends. But yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? And so the first man that I was with that was practicing that, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, so you're not enjoying yourself? And he goes, why do you think that? Well, because you're just like going along and you seem like you're, in control. Shouldn't you be out of control in ecstasy if you're really having a great time? Yeah, exactly. And he says, well, I am, though I'm breathing it up. And I'm just kind of like, whoa, what are you talking about? So it was an interesting experience.
Right.
And I know that a lot of women have that, in their minds.
Well, understandable, because men have talked about blue balls,
right?
The frustration.
Yeah.
Wars have been fought because men are not coming.
There you go. No,
but to realize whether it's the release of that aggressive tension or passion and the pain or anguish that a man might go through, and many men talk about going through because they haven't ejaculated.
They don't have the education to know what to do with the energy.
And the compassion that the woman has for that, or the desire to know that she's brought him there.
Right. I'm so sexy. He can't help himself.
I'm too sexy.
Yeah, that's right.
See, and I'm getting the feeling here after listening to you. I mean, I never contemplated this idea that there's some ritual satisfaction to having the man orgasm quickly. I mean, if we were really honest with our communications and we dared just to lay it on the table, I wonder what the world would look like. I mean, it's like, wow.
What would sexuality look like in the world?
Yeah.
It'd be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? There'd be more really women shopping and...
Wow, it sounds like our economy would pick up.
Well, 58% of women right now would rather go shopping than have the sex they're having. So we're
right.
kind of in a bad situation there anyway. But more and more men, there's men faking it too. There are a lot of men out there faking it. No, I am dead serious.
I wouldn't be able to get away with that.
No?
No.
Why? Maybe that's too much information.
Anyone who can paint the walls in the bathroom, I'm just like, okay, I guess there's no faking that. Huh?
You've been in my bathroom. Do I need to wash my walls down in my bathroom?
No, you don't need to repaint your bathroom.
That's excellent.
I'm practicing EJ Mastery.
That is good to know. That is good to know. We are... Wow, the topics that we talk about on the show.
Some women actually have an orgasm when the ejaculation hits the back wall of their...
Cervix,
would it be their cervix, vagina, uterus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hopefully you're not ejaculating into their uterus.
The back wall of the pelvic floor,
right.
essentially.
Right.
That some women feel that, experience that, and actually either can tell and know it, or actually have an orgasm with that.
Well, okay. So then that would be like, then the woman would be going, that's not, if you're practicing EJ Master, that doesn't work for me.
Right.
No.
Or, hey, you got to give me some of that some of the time.
Right.
And then, again, I've been in that situation where saying in advance I'm not going to.
What about the super soaker? You could use the super soaker.
Just with a little nozzle?
Right.
There you go. That could be you've just given me an idea.
I've just come up with a whole new sex toy, the super soaker.
Honey, how does it feel when we just keep running the super soaker?
Wow.
My mind has no bounds.
A brief moment, though. When I'm with a lover and I'm doing EJ Master and I've been asked, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I'm like, am I okay not coming? Yeah. And I say, I want to be clear. I have had plenty of orgasms, numerous this evening.
Right.
And I'm really okay not coming.
Well, that's the whole thing, is once they figure out that you separate orgasm and ejaculation, then women are happy. If a man's having orgasm after orgasm, chances are she's riding that wave with him. If he's hanging out the 9 range, she's feeling that. That's what she really wants. It's not the ejaculation. It's that intensity at the end. I keep saying this. It's that man at a 9.9. That intensity is enough to trigger a woman if he can last long enough.
Did you just up the ante on me?
Yeah, it was 9.8.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Last week, up until last week, was 9.8.
Now it's 9.9. I really want that.
No wonder I'm having such a difficult time.
9.9999 is what I'm looking for, baby. That's it. But that's really what they're talking about, because that's the time when men are so present in their body. They're so present right there that a woman can feel that experience. And that's what they're really wanting to last. And I think we have about 4 minutes left there, Gary? Something like that. We have 3 minutes left. So what do we want to say in 3 minutes? I don't know.
The book.
Well, I know. We keep talking
Tanya,
about the book.
I, again, want to commend you.
You read the book.
I have been reading pieces of the book through the week, and I've sent reviews and my feelings about it, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited.
Wow.
I want to thank you and Max for the diligent effort you've put into Max supporting Tanya in completing the book and having the energy, the love, the affection, and the care to get that done. So, Max, thank you. And Tanya, I just want to send my appreciation
for
what you've accomplished.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting, really, and I've got a letter out to the Dalai Lama to ask him if he wants to endorse it, because I go for the big shots.
Hey, Holiness, you got anything to say that you'd like to share?
And, yeah, exactly, about the book.
We've got workshops coming up.
We do.
We have September 12th and 13th. We have some workshops coming up that are really exciting.
In Seattle.
So you can, on Facebook, or get in touch with us at the website to learn more about and see the schedule.
LearningTantra.com, under workshops, you will find the entire workshop schedule.
LearningTantra.com.
But the big thing is the Couples Intimacy Weekend coming up.
Oh, the Couples Intimacy Weekend.
October 16 through 18.
October 16 through 18. That's going to be beautiful.
And I only take 6 or 7 couples on that, so it's super special.
What if you get 24 couples that want to do it?
Well, then I'm going to have to put on another one pretty close.
Right.
So but you need to hop on that right away.
First come, first serve basis.
Yeah.
And let us know who's really wanting and ready to do that.
Yeah, because it will transform your life.
Great opportunity to connect.
Exactly. And we are so happy. Thank you, Max, by the way, for being on the show again today.
You are welcome. Well, thanks for having me. And I also wanted to put in a huge vote about that book. I am so thrilled to see that, and there's just such a powerful vibe that is present there. The information that was able to be packed into each chapter, almost a standalone workshop in a way, and generating the thoughts and really getting to the essence of what each of these particular points are. Letters A through Z, each one has a lot of impact. I'm just amazed. Yeah.
ABCs of Tantric Living, which we'll put a thing on the website, which you can pre-order an autographed copy
Nice.
It should be coming out in the next couple months, but I'll do a special thing on my website so you can pre-order an autographed copy of that.
Yeah.
We are down on the time. We are going.
We
want
are
to say
done.
thank you to everybody for listening to us, and let me know what you thought about quantity versus quality and everything else that we've been talking about. Thank you, Joshua.
You're welcome.
You
Thank
hear all
you,
the craziness
Tanya.
in the background. Thank you, Max. There's my daughter. Woohoo! Hi. And thank you very much, Gary, as usual. And we will talk to everybody next week. Thank you.
You have been listening to the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show with your host, Tanya Diamond. Visit her website at www.tanyadiamond.com. That's TANJA for more information on workshops and classes.